Hey dudes, and welcome back to The Bants. As always, I am your host, The Bants. And it's finally Friday, the end of the week, so it's time for our third and final What's Happening in Fashion this week, so let's just get right into it. And first up, we have our headlines for the day. And in our first headline, brand Adidas and artist Pharrell found themselves in a little bit of hot water recently for one of their newest collaborations, and in all honesty, I kind of agree with the outrage here. Now, the idea of Pharrell and Adidas collaborating is nothing new. God knows they've been doing it for really kind of decades now. But this latest collaboration, the NMD collaborations they've been doing over the last couple years, have been pretty solid up until this point. Unfortunately, with this collection, titled the Holy collection, Pharrell decided to put some Hindu imagery that's very synonymous with a lot of the holy celebrations in India and Nepal onto the sneakers themselves, and people just weren't happy. And I'm not just talking about the Twitterverse or people on Instagram or Hypebeast. I'm talking about people in political and religious organizations in these two countries even calling out Pharrell, saying that this was a bad idea and to remove the stock immediately. And I really do kind of agree with the outrage here. I mean, sure, cultural appropriation in and of itself usually isn't as bad as people say it is. Yes, there are definitely blatantly obvious cases of it and obvious cases of blatant racism in it, but usually the idea of somebody wearing like a shirt with a graphic on it or something along those lines really doesn't rock the boat for me too much. However, taking something that's so close to heart as a religious symbol to a lot of people and kind of exploiting that on a sneaker of all things for the pursuit of profit, not really up my alley, and I actually do think that it is more in poor taste here than in good taste. And as of now, there really hasn't been any word on either Adidas's end or Pharrell's end to comment on the situation, and from the looks of it, pretty much everything is completely sold out anyway, so where this story ends up, I guess only time will tell if we even hear an update on it. And in our second headline, Highsnobiety did a nice little write-up article based on a lot of the things going around or happening with Antisocial Social Club, which, if you kind of want a brief summary on this, you can check out my Monday video. I kind of did a little bit of a overlook of the lookbook and some of the controversy surrounding it. But basically in this article, they kind of give a little bit more of a rundown than I did in the video, and they also kind of go through a couple of other social media links and kind of get other people's reactions. And then they talk a little bit about other people doing what they consider tongue-in-cheek pieces, which I think is kind of a cop-out compared to what ASSC is doing here, because when other people are doing stuff like anti-fashion and making fun of their counterfeit shit, Neek is really just making fun of people that support his product, which is really just a fucking stupid idea. But hey, I guess what can you do? I mean, what more can you really expect for somebody that does such shit designs in the first place? So let's end this story again with the way that every single Antisocial Social Club story should be ended, and that's with Meek, go fuck yourself. Alright, and with that, let's move on to our art stories for the day. And first up, Damien Hirst showed off some of his newest paintings, which are now on exhibit in LA till mid-April, so I would definitely go check those out if you can get a chance to see them. And what's really surprising about them too is that he actually painted them himself this time, so all the more reason to give these a look. Then Hypebeast gave a quick look at Yayoi Kusama's newest exhibit, which is now open in London till around early June, I believe. So if you can't make it out there, I would definitely check out some of these photos. Otherwise, if you happen to be in London anytime soon, I would definitely go check that out. And lastly, Juxtapose sat down with artist and designer Marc Rimmer to discuss some of the things that he's done recently and show off some of his collection of designs. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about him or some of the interesting pieces that he puts out, I would definitely go give this a read and a look. Alright, and then moving back into fashion now. Supreme came together with Undercover and Public Enemy for a monster of a collaboration, and honestly, I think they did a pretty solid job here. First and foremost, I just have to give them props for the size of this collaboration. I mean, we're talking dozens of pieces, not just 4 or 6 or a dozen, dozens, plural. And they're all pretty consistently good too. The graphics themselves are very clean and on point, not overabundant, not overabused, not oversaturated, and they really help the pieces shine through nicely. Some of the all over prints as well too, not too loud, not too bright, not too gaudy, and they work out very well. And then you have the absolute highlight pieces here, which in my opinions are of course the fishtail parka, and kind of the surprise favorite in the pair of Doc Martens as well too. And even for as loud and colorful as they are, they just fucking work, and applause to you guys on it, I guess. If only Supreme had put this much effort into their MLK pieces, maybe people wouldn't have bitched about it. But then again, maybe that's because Takahashi was probably in charge of this collaboration anyway. Then brand Helas showed off their newest Spring-Summer 2018 lookbook, and for as bizarre as it is, I can't help but kind of like it. If I had to give this lookbook one word, it's definitely interesting. Just the choice of some of the graphics here, the choice of some of the colors, both of the graphics and the textures and textiles themselves, and even some of the detailing here, it's just different, and it's good different. For as loud as these pieces are and as maximalized as they are, you could even argue that they're not. For as gaudy as you think some of these pieces would be, they come off more as playful and fun, and I really have to commend Helas for that because, well, first off, going back to what I've been talking about in streetwear for a while now, is that there isn't as much playful funness, I guess you could say, in streetwear as there used to be, and seeing brands do stuff like this is just really nice. And even aside from that, the more toned down pieces, although still very colorful, definitely feel more muted, definitely very clean, definitely very well designed. I just really like it, even for as weird as I think it is. So kudos once again to Helas. I wish you guys the best, and I can't see what weird stuff you come up with next. Then Junya, Watanabe, and Carhartt showed off their newest collaborative pieces, this time just splattered with paint, and honestly, I'm blown away. You would think after all this time, with all the things that Junya Watanabe has done, and unfortunately with how some of his runway shows have gone recently, that he's finally run out of ideas, but nope. That is definitely not the case. As if the North Face collaboration wasn't already amazing enough as it is, then he shows up with this, it's just like, the man is a genius, a fucking genius. The much more toned down matte coat, I believe, is probably the better of the two pieces, just because it feels a lot easier to wear, and it's just nice. For as crazy as it is, it still feels kind of minimal, and I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there trying to rock that with their Margiela paint drips, so best of luck to you on that end. But for myself personally, I do prefer the chore jacket. I just love the amount of color on it and just the saturation on it in general, although I do have to say the collar and the elbow patches probably a little bit too much. But hey, Junya's just gotta be Junya, right? Either way, if you do find yourself a fan of really the art of fashion, definitely give these images a look, you won't be disappointed. Then brand GMBH and Helly Hansen came together for a couple new collaborative pieces, and I do have to say in this case, it's definitely quality over quantity. For there only being really 2, maybe 3 pieces here, there's definitely a lot of detail. And when I say a lot of details, I mean literally a fuck ton of details. From afar, one could argue that this is just somebody's attempt at taking techwear and mixing it in with patchwork, and even if that was just the case, I still think they were pretty well done. But when you start actually looking at these pieces up close and seeing the extra details, like the graphics, the buckles, the absolute overabundance of zippers, you really kind of start to see the vision they were putting together in these pieces. But does all this excessive functionality actually make the pieces more functional? Fuck if I know, but they look fucking cool. But in all seriousness here, these are a couple pieces I would really like to get some hands on just to see exactly how intricate they are. But from just these photos alone, I just have to say, great job. Then fresh off of his Nirvana collaboration, Takahiro Miyashita decided to move on to another music collaboration, this time with legendary rock band The Beatles, and honestly he did a fantastic job with it. At first glance, these pieces seem relatively boring, and believe me, that's exactly what I thought as well. Sure, the Nirvana collection wasn't necessarily bad, but it was pretty basic, and going into this collection, I thought the same thing, but holy fuck was I wrong. As somebody who really loves to emphasize the little details, this collection blew my fucking mind. I mean, yeah, it's mainly just black with little bits of white, but the taping on these pieces, the use of taping, the use of the little graphics and buttons and just quotes and shit, like, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic minimalistic detailing. Is it worth the price? Probably not, and one could definitely argue that this is actually not that great of a collaboration, but for those of you that really do like those smaller details and find inspiration in them, definitely give this a look. And lastly, designer Bernhard Willhelm showed off his Fall/Winter 2018 collection, and this is absolutely fucking incredible. Even for someone who really doesn't like the androgynous look of some of these pieces, there's just so much fucking cool shit in this lookbook. Like, I can't even start. Like, the patterns and the embroideries and the dip dyes and the coloring is all just great. The silhouettes are just super interesting and just totally amazing. And if that wasn't enough, the graphics here are just fucking phenomenal. And just the amount of design ideas and how well they were just so well executed here. Like, it's just, I'm speechless. Like, it's that fucking good. And of course, even though I am as highly praising this collection as I am, I'm obviously not gonna go out and buy a fucking blue velvet dress and start wearing it just because it's great. But that's not the point. From a design aspect, from a fashion lover's aspect, this is just an amazing collection, and really, take a couple minutes out of your day and just look this over. It's just super inspirational, and I can't do enough to commend Bernhard here. Just bravo, man. Alright, and with that, let's move on to our articles for the day. And first up, Helas did another overview of another fashion expo, this time the Man Show. So if you're interested, once again, in workwear, Americana, things like that, and want to see some new brands that kind of caught their eye or brands that they thought were interesting, I definitely give this article a look. Then Helas wrote an absolutely fantastic opinion piece on what they believe killed Cone Mill's denim. And really, I just can't say enough about it. They go into the history of the mill, they talk a little bit about the political and economic aspects that might have changed some things, what led to its ultimate demise, and what's the future for denim in general. And really, if you love denim even just a slight bit, this is definitely worth a read. Definitely check this out. Then Wellspent put out a nice little article based on everything that you're afraid to ask about Portugal, seeing as that now Portugal has become this really big epicenter for manufacturing goods recently. So if you're interested in kind of more the higher end designing, manufacturing aspects of fashion, I would definitely give this article a look over. And lastly, the Wall Street Journal sat down with John Galliano to kind of pick his mind about some of the things that he's deciding to do with Margiela. So if you're interested in either John Galliano or Margiela in general, definitely worth a read as well. Alright guys, and with that, we've come to the third and final whiff for the week. And as always, I hope you guys have enjoyed. And also, as always, if you want to see some more images that I didn't include for some of the lookbooks here, or want to read any of the articles I discussed today, I've linked all those down in the description down below. And as always, guys, I just want to thank you for watching these videos and supporting the channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just want to talk fashion in general, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm always willing to talk fashion. And with that, guys, thank you once again. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and as always, until next time.